Tim Diamond, Coastal Pacific Real Estate. How you doing, man?
I'm good. Thank you again for having me. It's an honor to be here, guys.
Yeah, you bet.
Awesome, bud.
Nice to have you. So in this segment, we're going to be talking inventory levels and then also how to prepare yourself to sell a home in 2016. What kind of goes into that? So let's start with inventory levels.
Sure.
I want to start with what's considered normal.
Well, 6 months would be considered normal, right? Because then it's pretty much, it's flat, it's an even market. Works out both for buyers and sellers, which they seem to think that will happen.
Okay.
Yeah.
Where are we sitting right now, do you think?
Well,
I know every market's
it's
a little bit
it's
different.
interesting because San Diego has so many different micro neighborhoods, right? So it's hard to say on a whole, but I'd say, a good number right now is 2 to 3 months. Really is I'd say that's a fair number.
How far out do you think we are if they're projecting that we will get eventually to a healthier 6 months? I mean, are we like a year out, 2 years out? Do you know?
No, I don't think. I mean, I've talked to economists myself, and I think we're approaching that thing fast. I think we see it daily. I mean, I'm looking for myself to purchase again. I have many buyers I'm working with and 3 listings I'm working with. So I look at this thing daily, and we're starting to see the inventory get better daily, which is,
a good
bringing.
sign.
Yeah, it
it's
is a good sign.
But I think part of the low inventory levels kind of gives us a false sense of the market too, because if there's only 10 homes in the market in your area,
Right.
and there's 50 buyers trying to go after them,
Exactly.
obviously those price points are going to be pushed up just based on demand.
Absolutely.
So really, it doesn't really give us a real sense of what's going on in the market.
And I think that the fact that inventory is low, prices are going up, it's really starting to mess up appraisals, right? Because we're getting things moved out of escrow, or buyers are having to come in with more money because it didn't appraise for the amount that we said.
Now, do you think that's more with listing agents getting a little too aggressive with the way homes are listed, and because the demand is high, they're going for the highest and best, and not really taking into account that the fact that this client's going to get financed and there is going to be an appraisal done?
I think that can absolutely be a part of it. I think another part of it is you can get so many buyers. If it's a really good deal, right, we're getting so many people that are just making it go much higher than it should go for.
Right.
So that's the other side, I think.
Yeah, I find it interesting because not a lot of people, I mean, we're seeing that there's a challenge right now, or at least there's a perception there's a challenge in getting financing because most people don't have the savings
Right.
in order to get into these mortgages, even though there's something like FHA where you come in with something as low as 3.5%, where they can honestly say, well, if the house appraisal comes in $10,000 less, I'm going to come out of that with my own money.
Right.
Well, I don't see many people being in the position to do that.
No.
And then does it actually make sense?
And for those that are putting down so much money that the appraisal doesn't affect them, they're not in that boat anyway.
No, absolutely not. It doesn't really apply to those people, really.
No, we have a client currently putting down $500,000 on $1 million purchase.
Yes.
Okay, well, it doesn't matter.
Doesn't
if
matter
the
to
appraisal
him.
comes in at 800.
Right.
As long as he's comfortable.
He wants the
mortgage is gonna go
property.
through.
That's it, right?
Right.
And I think a lot of things there. You hear it on this station. I listen to the station a lot, and you hear everybody talking about inventory, seller's market, and I think that scares buyers. But I think the way rates are, I think buyers should act. I mean, lock yourself into something for 30 years, and they say, well, what happens if prices come down? What if we had a crystal ball, we'd all be rich, right? We don't know. I mean, right. So
Crystal ball's broken, bro.
I know exactly. So buyers need to act as well. They really do.
Yeah, the rates where they're at, again, how I mentioned just a few seconds ago, as far as the perception of how difficult it is to get financing, my personal opinion that it isn't. You simply have to qualify, and you have to provide all the supporting documentation. And us as real estate professionals, whether you're a loan officer or a real estate agent, we got to lay out the proper expectations to the client. Again, whether they're a buyer or a seller, let them know what they're up against. If we try to paint a pretty picture as far as how simple it is, well, we also devalue why they're hiring us to begin with.
I think you said the right word, setting the expectation.
Right.
I mean, you have to. I mean, that's like going to show somebody a bunch of properties that they don't qualify for. Why would you do that before you know what they actually qualify for? Because then you're just breaking their heart. And that's the wrong thing to do.
Well, in terms of emotions, we'll get to more of this in the segment in terms of the 5 real estate trends that will shape 2016. But I wanted to touch on the fact that we're seeing more and more millennials, obviously, in the market.
Right.
I'm seeing them as less emotional than any other consumer, really.
I think so too, because they act kind of.
They're kind of robots in a sense.
Thank you.
They don't care so much about the how and what. You know what I mean? Just get me what I need, and that's all I really care about.
And as quick as possible.
Yeah, I'm not really gonna get tied up in the whole back and forth with negotiating. If I want it, this is what it's going to be.
The rocket mortgage, that people aren't.
Don't be talking
No,
about
but that's what I'm saying though. But
all right, what are you doing?
No, but I'm telling you, I think that's the wrong idea. I think people have the wrong idea, and that, again, it's to educate them, right? Because I don't think they have the wrong idea.
Something like that tool being catering to a certain type of clientele. That's definitely not going to be for everyone.
No, it's definitely not.
When we're talking to the masses, that's where they have to understand why a loan officer is needed, why a real estate agent is needed, to help walk them through. It's not always a pricing thing. It's important to get competitive pricing, but I mean, you can continue to shop online. You get the lowest rate and lowest rate and lowest rate. Doesn't mean, or get quoted.
Sure.
Quoted. Quoted. Doesn't necessarily mean, one, that you're going to get it, and two, that transaction is going to go through.
Absolutely.
So,
I mean, yeah, you need the people presence. You need the education. I tell my nephew and niece all the time. I was like, your phone can't teach you. You need to sit down with somebody that's, and really learn about your options.
I think as a professional, you need both right now.
Yeah.
You
do.
Sexy
You're
app,
right.
You need
You're
a
right.
sexy app. You need all the easiest ways to fill out a loan application, but you also need to be present and have a face.
Absolutely. That's
perfectly
said.
Sexy loan officer helps. Sexy loan officer helps.
Hey, or a sexy agent. Come on now.
Change our title on our business cards.
Now we get each other.
We're good. All right, let's transition a little bit into. You guys are nice. Let's transition a little bit into. Okay, so husband and wife are sitting there. They decide. Okay, now it's time to sell.
Right.
What next? So let's lay out maybe, how they actually prepare to sell their home, because I think that if you wanted to sell this spring, you probably should have prepared already when the first of the year came.
Yeah, absolutely.
So what are you saying to those people?
Well, I think first thing, again, is our consultation. We sit down, we learn the expectations, we set the expectations, we learn their goals. We do that. The next step is getting the house ready. I tell them, treat it like you're having Martha Stewart coming over or something like that, right? If it means painting the front door, that's the first thing they see. I have great guys, turf guys I work with at Civilon, and they do great grass in the front, curb appeal, right? Plant some plants, something along those lines. We want to keep the house clean constantly, clean air filters, things like that are really, that's just the beginning.
Are we seeing enough agents taking those steps with prospective sellers out there? Or are we seeing more the fact that it is a seller's market, that they're just slapping a sign and just...
Let me answer, because you're going to be political.
Okay.
I want to say, no, we're not seeing it.
Okay.
I want to say, if you just talk about people in general,
okay,
are they going to take the easy way out, or are they going to do it the right way? And if we're talking about the masses, not the Tim Diamonds of the world, but like the masses, my guess putting it on the MLS is probably enough to get it sold in this market. Is that fair?
Price is obviously, that's the number one thing, right? And I think that's the biggest mistake that people make is pricing it too high. I think another mistake that people make is not marketing the property correctly. I bring in a professional photographer every single time that I do a property. I'm getting 25 images maximum that I can get on the MLS. I want to do a slideshow. I want to bring people in. That's going to get them through that front door.
Just to interrupt there really quick,
sure.
This is something you mentioned, these photos, and I want to make sure that for those listening, the importance of those photos. People think, well, how important can those photos be? I could take a great photo myself. Well, the difference is that you got a lot of people that are searching online first.
Yes.
So they're seeing the photos before they see the property. Now, if you can compare apples to apples, two very like properties, right? And you use, Tim, your photographer, versus Joe Blow agent over here that uses their iPhone.
Yeah, exactly.
Right? They're going to want to make the call on your listing first.
Right.
And that's where people understand why that is so important. Everyone starts online.
Now let me simple step for sellers. If your realtor just took a picture of your bathroom and you could see the reflection of them, and they post that in the MLS, fire them. Like, seriously, fire them. That's enough right there. Like,
I see it so many times. I'm surprised I haven't seen a couple selfies mixed in there.
Don't start a new trend, right, Tim?
But it's pretty unfortunate. I think it's a disservice to your client. I mean, really, our job isn't there. And then if you're that uncomfortable, really telling your clients kind of that, hey, to sell this thing for top dollar and sell it quickly, then maybe bring somebody else in that can tell them that if it needed an interior decorator, because you shouldn't be, right? Unfortunately, I think a lot of agents are part-time agents and have a full-time job, right? Not enough full-time agents.
I agree 100%.
So,
and they have to be open to the fact that just because they live in it doesn't mean that home doesn't need to be staged. Sometimes you have to have that tough conversation with your prospective sellers and saying, hey, let's move some of this stuff out into the garage or into storage because we need to bring this type of furniture. This area here attracts a millennial. They want something a little bit more modern. They have to see themselves living in this home. it may mean spending a few bucks in order to do that.
I totally agree. You're absolutely right. I mean, that's what should be done. I mean, if you want to maximize your profits, right?
Absolutely.
No, I wasn't looking at you in that.
Yeah, I was wondering.
My mom just put in there that Cross and her are watching or listening to the show right now.
really?
So shout out to my boy.
Hi, Mom.
She's not claiming you.
Dang it.
All right, let's go down this list real quick, because to prepare yourself and your family for the following, I think these are important. Having your house clean every day, I think that you touched on that.
Absolutely.
Someone's going to be looking at your home every day.
Oh, yeah.
And how you leave your home is going to be a reflection of you. So I know that those things are important. Showings, be prepared for people are going to be coming through your home daily, and don't look at it as a bad thing.
Right.
Like, oh my God, I can't believe people are coming through my house. That's a
More,
good thing.
the more traffic, the better, you know?
One thing I want to touch on is make repairs before they become an issue. I think that once it becomes a request for repairs issue, it's maybe too late in the process to really have any leverage at that point. Like, take care of it at the very beginning.
Absolutely. I mean, we recommend it all the time. Let's get a termite inspection done before we put it on the market. Let's do a property inspection before we put it on the market. Because if we do this, we find out if there's problems, right? Instead of we get to the request for repairs, like you said, and now they're trying to get us for penny pinch us, you know?
Oh, yeah, or you're just trying to hold on to the transaction at that point.
Absolutely.
I mean, you're not really dealing with a clear mind at that
And
point.
don't limit your sellers to who's going to be looking at their properties. Everyone seems to shy away from government financing. As if you guys have heard me, I'm a huge fan of FHA and VA, and I've seen it on the MLS where they're saying conventional only, not understanding that you're limiting your seller's exposure. Tim,
That's a
you're
shame.
taking those proactive steps and getting an inspection done. Sometimes there's a lot of the simple things. It's, earthquake shops on the water here. Make sure the smoke detectors are there. I mean, you can make a run to Lowe's and spend a few bucks and get this done.
Absolutely.
Now you just open up a whole new channel, especially if your home's listed in the, I'm going to say 400s. You know that most people that are looking to buy for the first time, maybe, or even second time, right? Rebounders coming back into the market with FHA or VA. A lot of those clients, that's what they're buying. There aren't many people walking around with 20, 30, 40% down.
That's absolutely
and
right.
Unfortunately, the ones that are probably selling that 400,000 moving up to 6 or 7 anyway. So if you're who you're exposing that listing to is a conversation you'd be having with your seller.
I think also too, going back to inspections real quick, is that when a potential buyer walks into that property, they know what they're getting. Everything's been uncovered, right? They're more confident in the whole process. They're more confident making a stronger offer. They probably feel like the seller is really a better person to work with, maybe than the other person who's trying to cover up things.
Yeah, just having your stuff together will show a lot about how this transaction is going to be laid out.
Absolutely.
In a world of condos here for us in San Diego, that's something I know, Tony, you and I have definitely had several conversations about this, in making sure that these agents are doing their due diligence up front and making sure that there is no litigation. What does the occupancy ratio look like? What does the delinquency ratio look like? How are you going to communicate that to a prospective buyer/buyer's agent? Because again, that's going to let you know who this property is going to be exposed to. Are you now just exposing this property to 20% down plus buyers? Where that's going to be a non-issue, where litigation still may be, but that you have to do your homework, know your product that you're going to be selling. Price is important, but know your product.
I think also a lot of people just, unfortunately, try to just get a sale and move on. I'm looking for lifetime clients.
Right.
I'm trying to, I'm ethical. I have good morals. I want my clients to know that. I like thank yous. Thank yous go a long way. So I'm trying to earn thank yous from my clients.
Thank
and
you.
I think, that goes a long way. I'll take that with me out of here.
You can take it to break. No, thanks for being here, guys.